North Korea fields an estimated 70 to 86 submarines. On paper, that places its fleet beside those of the United States and China. The number alone proves little. Its record does. For decades, these boats conducted covert operations near South Korea. On one occasion, half the fleet put to sea at once. American and South Korean surveillance failed to track the movement. Then came 2010. A South Korean warship sank in peacetime waters under American and South Korean observation. The submarine disappeared before investigators found proof that could trigger retaliation. That is the danger. Not open battle. A hidden force that can leave port, strike, and vanish.
The peninsula fixes the fleet's limits. North Korea's eastern coast faces the Sea of Japan. Its western coast faces the Yellow Sea. Land stands between them. Any ship moving from one coast to the other must round Korea's southern tip. That route crosses waters watched by South Korea, Japan, and the United States. In a conflict, neither coastal group can quickly reinforce the other. Commands on the east cannot send surface ships west without exposing them on that route. Commands on the west face the same barrier in reverse. Coordination exists on charts. At sea, distance and surveillance split the force. Small submarines fit this map. They stay close to shore, use familiar coastal waters, and avoid the long passage around the peninsula. Surface combatants would need to cross enemy-controlled seas before joining the other group. So the fleet divides at the coastline. East and west remain two isolated forces. Those separated coasts demanded forces that could strike nearby and disappear. On June 5, 1946, North Korea created its navy, 2 years before the state's formal proclamation. Its first orders kept crews close to shore, defend the coast, enter hostile waters, then pursue an enemy along familiar approaches. The personnel count remains disputed. Modern estimates place the service near 60,000, while South Korean intelligence reported as many as 148,000 in 1999. The gap matters less than the task assigned to those sailors. They trained for waters beside the peninsula, where local routes and nearby bases shaped every sortie. Soviet Whiskey-class diesel-electric submarines arrived during the 1960s, after the Korean War. They were already old boats. Yet they gave the Navy an underwater force for coastal missions. Their crews prepared to infiltrate and harass, then withdraw under diesel noise near the shore. That coastal role depended on quiet work in the yards. By the late 1960s, Soviet and Chinese transfers enlarged the fleet. Then, construction began. North Korea built submarines at home. Submarine construction demanded precision manufacturing, special materials, and engineering knowledge that few countries possessed. Those new yards needed a workable design. In the early 1970s, China transferred 4 Romeo-class submarines to North Korea. The boats were already aging, but they were the largest submarines North Korea had operated. Each carried 8 torpedo tubes and a crew of about 54 sailors. They could move beyond nearby coastal waters. China had license-built the Soviet design in large numbers during the previous decade. The transfer gave North Korea more than 4 hulls. It gave its shipbuilders a model they could reproduce. Soon afterward, China helped launch Romeo construction at the Simpo shipyard on the East Coast. Work continued from 1976 through 1995. The yard built about 20 boats domestically. Then came 3 more hulls. In 1990, the collapsing Soviet Union sold North Korea 3 decommissioned Gulf-class submarines for hard currency. They had no real value as combat boats. The Gulf class dated from the 1950s. Its value sat inside the sail, vertical launch tubes for ballistic missiles fired from a submerged submarine. North Korea stripped the vessels down and studied those sections. The Romeo boats supported domestic construction.
The discarded golf hulls preserved a different lesson. Knowledge of vertical launch tubes remained in North Korea for more than 2 decades. Those stored launch tube lessons did not dictate every naval decision. Near the coast, North Korea needed boats for another job. In the 1990s, the Sang-O appeared as North Korea's first close-to-indigenous submarine design. Some analysts link it to older Yugoslav blueprints, but the argument stops there. The boat measured roughly 35 to 40 meters. It used diesel-electric power. It carried torpedo tubes and space for special operations personnel. Its tasks stayed near shore: shallow water, night insertions, short-range torpedo attacks. The Sang-O replaced the Romeo as the main production type because its size matched those missions. A coastal boat needed room for a group, yet had to move where larger hulls were less convenient. The Yono followed as the smaller partner. It measured 29 meters and carried a crew of 7. 2 torpedoes filled its weapons load. Its shallow draft suited coastal water, where noise and clutter could conceal a small diesel-electric hull. Iran took that design seriously. It chose the North Korean Yono and built its own Ghadir-class boats in substantial numbers. That export pointed to the real mission. Near the North Korean coast, Yono and Sang-O boats carried people toward a dark shoreline. This was not a contest of warships. Their primary task was to support special operations forces. Estimates place those forces between 80,000 and 200,000 personnel. That number made covert landings a standing naval task. At night, a boat could approach the coast with no surface silhouette. Crews put swimmers ashore, or they launched a small boat toward the beach, then moved back below the waterline before daylight exposed them. Water struck the hull. The shore stayed dark. These missions continued for decades. Some ended badly. Others left no visible trace at sea. After the landing, the submarine went underwater and left the group on shore. In September 1996, the return voyage exposed the Sano near Gangneung. It had landed a reconnaissance group, then came back after dark to collect it. The submarine ran aground on South Korea's east coast. It could not leave. South Korean forces searched for 49 days. About 43,000 soldiers joined the hunt. 24 of the 26 people aboard died. 13 died in firefights. Their own crewmates executed 11 others. South Korea recovered the submarine. Its damaged hull now stands in a museum near Gangneung. 14 years later, the outcome was different. In March 2010, a torpedo split the South Korean corvette Cheonan in the Yellow Sea. 46 sailors died. Investigators recovered torpedo parts from the seabed, including Korean-language markings matching North Korean specifications. The attack was attributed to a Yono-class midget submarine. The boat itself was never identified. That unresolved threat shapes the command choice. Small boats carry the fleet's real missions. Romeo-class submarines remain the largest hulls in North Korea's inventory. About 20 boats measure 76 meters and carry 8 torpedo tubes. Their range reaches farther than any other class. On paper, they can move beyond coastal waters. At sea, noise exposes them. Aging sensors and difficult maintenance keep most near their home bases. The fleet therefore leans on Sang-O boats. Around 40 Sang-O and enlarged Sang-O-2 submarines handle infiltration and torpedo attacks. Their narrow hulls can move through shallow water. They fit the missions North Korea can actually repeat near its coast. Numbers alone do not create long-range readiness. Yono midget submarines add another option. About 10 boats carry 2 torpedoes each. In shallow water, their small profile makes detection difficult. Their task is direct: approach, fire, and disappear before naval forces locate them. Below them sit older Yugo midgets and other small craft. These boats mainly train crews and support infiltration. Behind the small craft lies a larger number. North Korea lists between 70 and 86 submarines. That is a paper total, not a daily sailing list. The gap begins in maintenance bays. North Korea cannot make many precision parts its aging Soviet-era boats require, while sanctions restrict purchases abroad. Mechanics may strip one hull for parts to keep another available. Tools strike inside cramped compartments. A berth stays empty. One disabled boat can keep another moving. The record carries warning signs. In October 2013, submarine chaser number 233 left on a routine patrol and never returned. Its entire crew died. In March 2016, American observers reported a possible submarine loss in the Sea of Japan. United States assets had watched the boat before it vanished. Satellites, aircraft, and ships later saw North Korean naval forces searching the area. No public account confirmed what happened. Those losses do not establish a single cause, but they show why the fleet total alone cannot reveal how many boats can sail on one day. Then came a different signal. In August 2015, about 50 North Korean submarines left their bases at the same time. South Korean and American surveillance failed to track most of them in real time. The departure did not erase the shortage of parts. It showed that the fleet could still disperse. After the boats spread out, Pyongyang faced a quieter question. Which one could stay hidden after a first strike? Kim Jong-un wanted what his father never built, a nuclear force that could survive. Fixed launch sites can face precision strikes. Mobile launchers can be tracked. A nuclear-armed submarine moves underwater, its position harder to establish before an attack. That uncertainty complicates the search for a target. Since around 2014, Kim Jong-un has pushed the fleet toward an underwater nuclear carrier. That decision produced the 66-meter Gore, a diesel-electric submarine built on a modified Romeo hull. One ballistic missile launch tube rose from its sail. In October 2019, Gore launched a Pukguksong-3 missile. Its range approached 1,900 kilometers. Testing continued. October 2021 brought a Hwasong-11S ballistic missile. In March 2023, Gore launched 2 submarine-launched cruise missiles. That missile work led to a larger display. In September 2023, Kim Jong-un attended the unveiling of Hero Kim Kun-ok, an 86-meter stretched Romeo conversion. Its hull carried up to 10 vertical tubes for ballistic and cruise missiles. Then, it disappeared from view. Satellite imagery placed the boat back in Sinpo dry dock almost immediately after the ceremony. It remained under a security canopy for more than a year. By early 2026, no confirmed missile had been fired while submerged. The tubes matter only while the boat stays hidden. Its diesel-electric propulsion requires regular surfacing or snorkeling. That recurring exposure pushed Pyongyang toward a different hull. In March 2025, photographs showed a nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarine under construction. Estimates put it between 5,000 and 8,000 tons, built to carry around 10 missiles. It is North Korea's most ambitious naval program. But sanctions remain. Its shipyards already struggle to sustain existing ships. The new boat leaves its success uncertain. While the nuclear hull remains unfinished, Nampo launched the Showa Hyung in April 2025. At roughly 4,000 to 5,000 tons, it was North Korea's largest warship. The guided missile destroyer carried vertical launch cells for dozens of missiles. A second ship followed in June. Its first launch attempt ended in an incident. North Korea did not confirm a cause, and the available account does not establish that the ship capsized. The event exposed the risk of pushing several naval projects at once. Russia has also provided help. as Moscow relies more heavily on isolated partners after its war in Ukraine. The details remain unclear, yet Pyongyang is adding large missile destroyers beside its submarine project.
Across the water, Seoul already has boats in service. In September 2021, Dosan An Changho launched a ballistic missile from beneath the sea. It was the first successful test fire by a non-nuclear submarine. That launch came years before Pyongyang's new destroyers reached the water. South Korea operates 21 submarines. North Korea claims between 70 and 86. The totals point north. The fleet includes Changbogo boats, based on Germany's Type 209, and Sonwon-il boats, based on Type 214. 3 Dosan An Changho submarines form its newest class. 6 more are under construction. Air-independent propulsion keeps Dosan An Changho submerged for up to 20 days without surfacing. Its vertical launch tubes carry ballistic missiles. Numbers do not maintain a submarine. Crews need training, and equipment needs upkeep before a boat leaves port. That difference changes the fleet comparison. 20 days below the surface set the gap before North Korea turns toward surprise attacks near the coast. That coastal danger had already surfaced at Cheonan. The ship sank at night in shallow water, and the attacking vessel went undetected before and after the strike. No warning came. No trail remained. South Korea holds a real technological advantage, yet equipment faces a different fight near shore. Confused acoustic signals, a complex seabed, and dense traffic above the water can hide a submarine from search crews. The water itself interferes. North Korea has spent 6 decades preparing its fleet for covert coastal action. One sinking showed the payoff. Anti-submarine searches in shallow water remain difficult because of the seabed, acoustic interference, and surface traffic. 6 decades of covert missions explain why Pyongyang still keeps its old submarines in service. They are poorly maintained, built around Soviet and Chinese designs from decades ago, and outclassed in conventional combat by neighboring fleets. Sanctions restrict domestic production. North Korean industry cannot replace the fleet at scale. Yet these boats have entered South Korean waters for secret missions, and one attack sank a warship without consequences. That record matters. The Air Force has no comparable history of hidden operations beyond the coast. Kim Jong-un now wants a different capability, a submarine that can remain underwater with a nuclear weapon aboard. The program faces sanctions, an aging fleet, and limited industrial capacity. It will not be easy. But the direction is clear. Russia has recently provided help, while Pyongyang pursues a fleet that can threaten American forces across the Pacific. Thank you for watching. See you next time.